Leadbeater will now move the second reading. I call Kim Leadbeater.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And thank you to everyone who is attending this hugely significant debate today. It is a privilege to open the debate on the Terminally Ill Adults End-of-Life Bill, a piece of legislation which would give dying people, under very stringent criteria, choice, autonomy and dignity at the end of their lives. It is our job to address complex issues and make difficult decisions. And I know for many people this is a very difficult decision. But our job is also to address the issues that matter to people. And after nearly a decade since this subject was debated on the floor of the House, many would say this debate is long overdue. Public prosecutions, including the Prime Minister and 2 former presidents of the Supreme Court. And I want to pay a huge and heartfelt tribute to those families and to every single person who has contacted me about this issue, and in many cases shared their own very personal stories of loss and death. I know from my own personal experience of grief that telling your story over and over again takes energy, courage and strength. And I'm incredibly grateful to you all. It is your voices and your stories which have inspired me. And when 4 former directors of public prosecutions, including the Prime Minister, and Speaker, I've always been keen to ensure that my politics stays rooted in the world beyond Westminster. And it's clear that public opinion is very much in favour of a change in the law. Polling shows consistently that around 75% of people would like to see the legalisation of assisted dying for terminally ill, mentally competent adults. These findings are significant, but it may not be that surprising that most people believe, as I do, that we should all have the right to make the choices and decisions we want about our own bodies. And let's be clear, we are not talking about a choice between life or death. We are talking about giving dying people a choice of how to die.
Very grateful to the Honourable Lady for giving way, and thank her for giving the House the time to debate this morning. She references coercion, and I understand the point that she makes about the 2 medics. But the medics won't be able to see or have heard anything and everything at all times. People will not be put beyond challenge, because subsequent to the death, if a relative claims coercion of another relative, investigation will remain. I'm just entirely unclear how, without peradventure, 2 clinicians can claim that there has been no coercion at any point.
I mean, the right honourable member has kind of made the point for me there, in that, you know, we're going to check for coercion in a very robust system. We don't have any of that now. So at the moment, the person will definitely be dead. We have to look at the status quo by putting layers of safeguarding and checking for coercion. That's got to be better than the system that we've got now.
Much for giving way on that point. Colleagues are right to raise questions around coercion, because all of us know, and I hosted a phone-in on LBC where people rang in and said, I feel like I have to end my life because I recognise how difficult it is for my family to see me suffering. But the limitations of this bill are that you must have 6 months to live, according to 2 doctors and a judge. So I genuinely believe that this massively reduces the risk of coercion, because we're really saying that people are so desperate to bump off their families that if they were told they had 6 months to live, they would escalate this process. They could do it sooner.
She makes an excellent point. You're absolutely right. And the very strict criteria within the bill add extra layers of safeguarding, again, which we just don't have at the moment.